Hello and welcome. I really am so glad that you're here. We're going to be diving into resetting midlife weight, and I hope you're feeling lucky because we will be doing that draw at the end. But before we dive in, let's create an actual experience of what this program is really about. And it's the power of one full breath together. So let's try it right now. I'm going to put down my tea, sit up a little straighter. You can close your eyes if you want. And just take a breath in through the nose, hold for a brief second, and exhale completely. Let's do that again. Inhale, hold, and exhale. One more time. Lovely and good. Can you sense that shift? And because that's what I'm talking about today, a nervous system reset. I mean, you know this, but we forget. You get busy, right? So, what we're talking about today is not another weight loss trick. It's not another try harder strategy. And it's certainly not shame dressed up as discipline. I don't know about you, but I'm sick of our culture piling on even more pressure to be perfect. Here's what we are doing today. By the end of this training, you will clearly understand why midlife weight gain is normal, why having iron willpower can actually make things worse, the powerful difference between suppression and retraining, the ways to work with your nervous system, not against it, and whether your next step might be medication or metabolic restoration. And if you stay with me right till the end, I do have a holistic and safe and perhaps even pleasurable solution to share with you. Something designed specifically for the woman who is ready to stop fighting her body and start leading it. It's what I'm doing to age strong, and I'd love to have you as part of our community. And then there's the chance to win the whole program free. So let's go. I am Cheryl Gordon, and I am a yoga therapist and creator of the SHE Mindfulness Program. I'm guide to hundreds of midlife women who are doing everything right, but are still gaining weight. And I didn't create this because I read a bunch of research papers. I created it because I was bewildered and ashamed and despondent, really unable to get up the gumption to go after my own dreams anymore. In 2023, I hit my limit. Despite exercising, like super sweaty hard stuff, and I was eating healthy. I was always like cutting out all the fun foods like French fries and ice cream. I did yoga every day. I was meditating, and I totally understood all the stress physiology. I mean, I've been doing this for a long time, and yet my body was thickening. In the morning, my belly wasn't too bad, but by the nighttime, I looked pregnant. My pants weren't fitting right, and I was tired of always tugging at my clothes to try to cover up my rolls. I looked in the mirror after, you put in a full day of holding all your shit together, and you look in the mirror at night, you think, oh, I got to do something about this menopause weight. It was just such an unkind way to think about myself when I was so exhausted. Little did I know that the judgment and criticism that I was laying on myself was actually making this worse. And there were a few things that were piling up that were making my life, well, it just wasn't the life that I thought I wanted. I was having family troubles. I was not sleeping. I was gaining the weight. And I felt this weird loneliness as I got older. And then there was this one night, I went to my nephew's wedding, and there was unlimited sparkling wine at the bar all night, no restrictions. And anyone who knows me, and there's a few people on the panel today, I really, really, really like sparkling wine. So I had fun, danced till dawn. It was awesome. But I was so sick for the next 2 days. And while I was praying to the porcelain throne, I got to the point where I thought something's got to give. Who was I to call myself a yoga therapist when I demonstrated no discernment whatsoever at that wedding? And if I'm being honest, a lot of other times I didn't demonstrate as much discernment as I would have liked. I wasn't showing up for myself. Now, you signed up for this webinar, and it's about losing weight, yeah, but it's not. Have you had your moment when you said, that's enough? Are you tired of abandoning who you really are at your heart? That's where I got to. Have you ever looked down and thought, where did all this flesh come from? And have you felt desperate, like just to fix it, just to do anything? Are you fed up with all this stuff on social media? Because I really am. I was tired of feeling confused by all the conflicting advice. I was exhausted from trying to eat perfectly all the time. And I was bruised around the battleground that was food for me. Women like us, we have hormones. Our metabolisms are different. Our sleep is changing. Our stress levels are huge. And up until recently, there wasn't a lot of research or support for our cohort. They tried to get us to work out like a bro, or we got advice that would suit a 30-year-old, and that's not us. So I took a deep dive into my yoga therapy. I got some help, and I created a protocol to not only lose weight, but to come home to myself. It meant rooting out a lot of old beliefs that were planted by my society that does not value older women. It meant asking for some support. It meant taking a new look at the way I was applying yoga and mindfulness tools in my own life. I couldn't just do what I'd always done before. I made small, sequential changes organized in an intentional way that equaled transformation over time. This is where I'm going to try to do some tech, so bear with me. Here we go. So I wanted to just show you what the result was. So this is our webinar, and this is why I'm here. Now, I have a lot of cheek trying to show you bikini pictures, but there's a reason. I wanted you to see that these photos were taken in my backyard at my pool 2 years apart. And we use an old digital camera so you can see the timestamp on both of those photographs. What you see here is an outward manifestation of an inward shift. The weight loss, yes, it's fun to wear different size clothes. Yeah. But what I really want to try and illustrate is the profound shift in the relationship with myself, with my whole life. So much of this self-criticism and self-judgment and self-aggression, poof, gone. It's more peaceful. I am sleeping better. And it is more meaningful relationships, so less loneliness. And it's waking in the morning with a feeling of purpose and optimism. And if that's the one thing I think I would like to really emphasize is that I wake up, like, I won't say I wake up like blissfully happy or anything like that, but I wake up and I'm like, I've got an agenda for the day. I'm looking forward to it. It's not I have to do all this stuff. It's I really can't wait to do a lot of this stuff. Now, I wasn't alone in 2023. But you're not alone now. And we don't have to fall into old school traps in order to feel more ourselves. Our cohort that's hitting menopause now are more educated, more resourced, and more empowered than any group of women before us. And I did consider some drastic solutions. And I understood the appeal of, the fast results. But I had to ask myself, do I want suppression or do I want a holistic solution? I mean, pills always have side effects, right? Isn't it better in general to try to deal with the root cause of our symptoms? And that question changed everything for me. And I hope you consider that carefully now. I do have a holistic and sensible and practical plan that will help us to set and reset in midlife. And because you've been so sweet to support this class, I want to repay you with a few gifts today. But first, we have to rekindle the belief in ourselves. So if you would close your eyes, if that's okay, just for a second, I'm going to ask you to just think about something. Imagine waking up and not fretting about what you're allowed to eat. Imagine going out for dinner and just ordering food that you want to eat. Imagine trusting hunger signals. Imagine feeling powerful and confident to lift things around the house or join in some sort of new adventure. Imagine resting more reliably so that you can wake up clear and energized in the morning. Imagine looking in the mirror and saying, "Hey, gorgeous, love you." Would that change more than just your weight? Of course it would, because midlife weight isn't really about the number on the scale. It's about agency. It's about it being our turn. It's about reprioritizing our own dreams. And it's about rebuilding trust with ourselves. In yoga, we talk a lot about dharma, and it's kind of loosely translated to our life's work. This is our chance to discover now we are done with the building years, family, careers, all that stuff, basically building up everyone else's dreams. How would this summer feel different if you started the transformation now? And not just this summer, but what about the longer term? What about 10 years, 20 years, 30 years from now? Because we're going to live a while, girlfriend. My mom is having a really rough time right now. And I think about this a lot. And I think about the things I'm doing now. I may face the same problems as my mom, but the things that I'm doing now are different than what she did. I'm investing heavily in building and aging strong and building myself up, not just physically, but mentally too, because I think that's maybe more important. And I know that you're at this webinar because you're thinking about the next 10, 20, 30 years and setting yourself up to be strong and to age well. I got to tell you that it feels pretty good to haul my kayak down to the water all by myself and be confident I can do that. It feels pretty good to get down on the floor with my grandsons and play and not worry about my knees. Um, and I've had clients who've gotten like that dream vacation. They wanted so badly to go to Europe, maybe with their family, but they were worried about all the walking. Well, they can do that now. I have one client who is training right now. She's 2 years away. She wants to compete in a bodybuilding competition when she's 70 years old. And I have, hundreds of clients who've told me how much it means to them to start taking charge of their lives. They're living their dreams again. Some of it is like one woman was ready to break up her marriage. She had enough. But through the work that we do in the SHE Mindfulness Program, she just discovered a new layer and has developed a really intimate, authentic relationship with her partner and is no longer in the divorce market, which I'm not saying everybody can't get divorced, but I think giving your marriage a real good shot is worth it. Everyone may drop a couple pounds if that's what you're here for, but that is really not the end goal. I think maybe you might like to have a reset. I have a couple examples to show you. So these are a couple of the women that have been through the SHE program. If you go on the website, I've got lots of different testimonials, but Linda was one of the first cohort that took this in 2024. And we stay in touch and she's still having good results. Sheila was a woman who came to the retreat at New Year's and is just starting the SHE program. But as you can see, she's pretty motivated for the changes that she's seeing. So let's get into the actual meat of our presentation today. I want to talk to you about why our weight loss is different than when we were 30 or even 40. Here's what we really need to hear. This is not a willpower problem, my friends. It is a nervous system regulation problem. And means that pushing harder, doing harsh things will backfire in the long term. So we need to work with our system. So let's dismantle this. I've got a little graphic here. I hope this helps. First of all, you've heard it over and over again. As we get older, our estrogen declines. For me, it did a complete dump almost overnight. This means that our systems are shocked by what is happening. Sometimes we refer to estrogen as kind of like the mom in the family. You know how moms run around, they pick everything up after everybody, they remember all the appointments, they make sure the fridge is stocked, the toilet paper roll is always there. You know, moms do everything, right? Then mom gets sick and the whole household goes to shit. Well, that's what estrogen was doing in your body before you hit menopause. It was running around doing the mom's job in your body. A lot of systems weren't optimized. You were pushing hard, right? But estrogen could pick up the slack. But when estrogen dumps, all of the vulnerabilities are graphically revealed. And you start seeing where the systems weren't working well. You also will notice that you have a lot more joint pain as you get older. And this is not, you're not imagining this. It's not, it's not a signal to stop moving or stop trying to be strong, but there is something called the musculoskeletal syndrome, I should say, which was only recently within the last decade identified. And a lot of practitioners, medical and otherwise, don't recognize it yet. But what it is the drop in estrogen creates changes in our connective tissue. So that sore shoulder or that touchy knee becomes a lot louder and makes us nervous and feel fragile. And we might cut back on our activities or change our activities or narrow down the type of activities that we feel safe doing. So your daughter-in-law's hot yoga class is not your friend, but there are things that are really, really good for older women to take up. And I want to talk to you about that in the SHE program. Then we also have the whole insulin thing. Um, Insulin is not bad. Insulin is like the Uber driver. Uber drivers get you from point A to point B. And so insulin is just the vehicle that gets glucose into the cells where it's needed. What happens in midlife is we have an overall muscle decline. You've heard this, your muscle mass starts declining after age 30. And so what happens without all that muscle mass to absorb the glucose, plus we're going to get into stress in just a second, the stress levels that we're enduring in our 50s and 60s, this is all means that um, insulin cannot find a place to dump the glucose, so it gets stored as fat. And because of the changes in our estrogen, it's going to be more likely belly fat than it is other places in our body. So that explains a bit about the insulin. It talks about the muscle decline. That muscle decline will exacerbate the joint pain, make your insulin resistance harder, and your fat storage bigger. Now, the connection to stress. Stress was managed easier when we were younger because of the presence of more estrogen in our body. But we have spent decades organizing and supporting, cajoling, nursing, loving, and shopping, basically holding everyone else's world together. I mean, I know you were the one at work who took the extra file because his wife was going through cancer treatment, right? Or you were the one that did extra shifts for carpool because she was going through a divorce. You know what I mean? We're the ones that picked up all the slack for everyone else. You remembered the birthdays, the doctor's schedules, the teacher interviews, you planned the parties. I can't stand it. The shit we have done. While we were basically being superwoman, we were conditioning our nervous systems to be more and more nervous. Cortisol is a hormone you hear a lot about. It's produced in the adrenal glands, but we have become trigger happy with our cortisol production as we got older because of what we've put ourselves through. The stress hormone also inflames insulin resistance. You can see how it's kind of a vicious loop. It ages us. It creates inflammation in our bodies. And then that prevents us from being able to sleep. We go try to settle down for sleep at night and we're wired, even though we might be tired, or we get woken up in the middle of the night. And even one night of poor sleep can make our blood sugars higher the next day. So, can you see how all of this works together? And no one's explaining this. No one's giving you this. They're just saying cut out carbs or take up CrossFit. So this is why our body is storing belly fat, especially, at our age. This is not our failure. This is not willpower. This is physiology. So, being high-powered, intelligent women, not getting proper information, we might be tempted to do that. Cut out carbs, take up some crazy exercise program, criticize ourselves. But you can't out-discipline a dysregulated nervous system. Does any of this resonate? Yeah. So, here's how I reset my midlife weight gain. I didn't do crazy diets. I didn't do killer workouts. And I certainly stopped being mean to myself. The one thing that was at the root of all of it was mindfulness. And I want to show you today how to specifically apply this to your life. It's crazy because I was teaching classic mindfulness. I can teach that with my eyes closed, but I never really put it together and applied it for me at my stage of life in this way. And it changed everything. Can you see yourself bringing a more mindful attitude to your life? I mean, it's not rocket science, right? I mean, you know this from your yoga classes or your other reading and podcasts, but very little in the literature is just for midlife women. And so I want to fill a few more things in for us. I want to talk about three kind of basics things that will really help clarify where to go next for us. The first thing is learning how to regulate before you jump to restriction. And let me explain what I mean. I know in my head, I still really hold that belief that I just need to eat less and I'm going to lose weight. So if my calories go down, everything's going to be great. But what happens when you eat less in an already stressed and overwhelmed body that's lost its estrogen? So mom's down sick, and now I'm going to eat less. You know what happens? You get more stress. Cortisol rises. I mean, starvation has been a very real threat for most of human history. So when your body perceives there's not enough resources, it's stressful. It thinks it's a survival threat. Stress hormones will destabilize your blood sugar and create insulin swings. They make your cravings and your urges much more difficult to deal with. So we are victim to the increased hormones and what they do to our brain. Now, what I really want, and I'm going to try to stop my share again, not have technical difficulties. There we go. What I really worry about with midlife women, and they go through these crazy calorie restriction things, is like maybe, by the way, GLP-1's, that's your Ozempics and that sort of thing. They cause nausea and they depress appetite. So you don't want to eat the foods you should be eating too. So just mentioning that for a second. Um, Muscle breaks down faster in your body than fat. Your body, in its wisdom, will hold on to fat as hard as it can because, again, going back to how we were wired and how our biology is put together, starvation was a very real threat. So you can sacrifice a little bit of muscle, but that fat could be fuel for the famine. So we're already biologically losing muscle at our age, but when we start dieting, we lose muscle and we lose bone mass. This is something that's very critical, and we really have to pay attention to this. So many of my friends this year have been diagnosed with osteoporosis. So, girlfriend, we cannot afford to lose that muscle and bone mass. Now, I know what I'm saying flies in the face of all of our socialization. Our generation is the skinny generation. But can you feel the truth of this? Isn't your experience that you have tried to diet, but the belly is so stubborn? Or you managed to lose a few pounds, but then something happened. Maybe you had an injury and couldn't exercise as hard, or maybe mom got sick, you had to spend too much time at the hospital looking after her, and your weight bounced back up. Because these are the stories that I hear from my clients all the time. So, see, we have been bamboozled. So, stick with me, my friends. I'm going to tie all this together and give you a sensible and deceptively easy way to reset this midlife weight problem. I also have a few bonuses too for you. So, here is the science backed truth of it. Restriction without nervous system regulation creates a rebound risk. Your body needs safety before it will release the weight. Weight loss is a side effect of stability. Stability. Have you ever been on a diet plan that just wasn't about weigh-ins, or you had to have hard willpower? We're talking about something different here. So I'm going to go back to trying to share. I have another slide. There we go. Perfect. All right. So let's talk about the second thing. So we talked about repression is not recalibration, or sorry, we talked about restriction is not retraining. Now I want to talk about suppression is really not healing. Now, a lot of my friends and no judgment, but a lot of people, Hollywood stars are going on GLP-1's, which is like Ozempic. It does slow the gastric emptying, it reduces hunger signals, and it affects how your reward centers in the brain work. And you will lose weight, most women do, but it does not address muscle signaling, stress resilience, hunger awareness, or emotional regulation. If you stop the medication without retraining, what happens? Old patterns return because the terrain didn't change. I have a friend, you probably know people too, who started Ozempic for the weight loss, and she was really sick for that first month. So she started to lose weight. It was really fun. She really actually lost her craving for chocolate, and I was pretty jealous. But she found that the price, because it's an off-book use of the drug, the price was getting pretty expensive. She'd lost the weight she wanted to lose, so she thought she could go off of it. Well, you know what happened? She rebounded, gained all that weight back, and then a little bit more. So now she's working with my system, and the weight is very slowly coming back off. But she knows this time it's for good, and she knows that she's rewiring her nervous system and that she's building a structure to support her new physical reality. So, do you see that difference? We need a holistic approach. We need something that understands what we're going through and resets us from the ground up. It's not just about changing your appetite. So the takeaway from this section is that suppression changes your signals, but your retraining will change the whole system. Now, my method offers a predictable pathway. There are simple shifts that we do sequentially, and we repeat those successes. And trust me, I'm not special. My clients are just like you. I'm just like you. In fact, I'm up a few pounds as we speak. Actually, when I wrote this, I was up a few pounds, and then I kind of got my mojo back, went back to the program, looked at some details, and the weight's on the way back down. And it really is that nervous system training. This sense of agency can be yours too, not panicking about what the scale says because you know what to do and you know what works. So now let's talk about what do you do then? What do you do? So this is a metabolism reset with mindful eating. Now, I grew up thinking of myself as chunky. I assumed that I had a different metabolism than skinny people, that the belly fat was just my lot in life. I thought the only way I'd lose weight was to do something drastic, like cut calories to under 1,400 calories a day, or I'd have to exercise like 2 hours a day. Those extremes are just not sustainable. So I felt more and more like a loser, like I was falling behind. And I know there are women with us today that have signed up for just different diet plans, or maybe they have gone on some medications. They've bought into expensive supplements and shake programs, taken up a 30-day sit-up challenge, right? That's what our culture tells us to do. Quick fixes. But here's the thing. Lasting change happens when you become a woman who prioritizes her whole being, not just loathes her belly. It happened for me and it can happen for you too. The woman we're becoming doesn't obsess about food. She trusts herself. She knows how to lower her cortisol levels. Trust improves insulin signaling, and trust helps stabilize hunger. So mindful eating is really not about food. It's about rebuilding self-leadership. So let's look at mindful eating. It is not another diet. It's not about having iron willpower. It's not restrictive of any food or food group. It is not a punishment in any way, shape, or form, ever. Mindful eating is awareness of when you're hungry, and awareness of when you've had enough. It's understanding emotional versus physical hunger. It's learning how foods affect your body specifically at different times throughout the day by listening and feeling your own body. You observe cravings and urges without giving in or reacting to them for a short time. And you're really tuned into your nervous system. Practicing mindful eating transforms you into a woman who hydrates accurately, who strength trains wisely. You eat when you're hungry, you stop when you have had enough, and you take managing stress very seriously in your life. That's it. That's it. That's all it is. Simple. You can start at any time with no special preparations. And it's the reason it's really worth your time to master mindful eating is that it leads not just to weight change, but to sustainable change in how you relate to food and eating. And the skills you build through mindful eating can be applied to so many other areas of your life. I mean, after I lost the weight through mindful eating and the SHE program, I built my confidence to go online and try slides and webinars. I've found ways to make my relationships more meaningful and peaceful because mindful eating isn't about what you eat or even losing weight. It's about rebuilding your compassionate relationship with yourself, prioritizing you for a change, really tuning into your life and saying, what do I need? Can you see how this really changes everything? So, right now, you have two paths in front of you. You can continue managing the symptoms the old way, waiting for something outside you to come and tell you what to do and fix you, or you can retrain your system, reset from the ground up, and get at the root of things. Which one makes more sense to you? One option lets outside things and external people call the shots in your life. My method offers you control. It invites you to take charge of your internal world. So, what is this SHE program that I keep talking so much about? We have a couple of people on the call today who have experienced it. So, the SHE Mindfulness Program is something I created out of my experiences. It's a structured metabolic retraining system for midlife women. So, let's go through it. It does address number one, the nervous system, because we need a reset protocol. This means you're going to be looking at doing some breath work. You're going to be looking at training your system through nervous system regulation. You're going to recalibrate that cortisol. It also talks about mindful eating. So you're going to learn about the importance of water. We all know we need to hydrate, but I bet you haven't looked at it from this angle before. We're going to retrain our hunger systems, recalibrate how we feel hungry, how we react to it. We're going to look at stabilizing our blood sugar so we're not on that roller coaster of urges and cravings. We're going to look at joint safe progressive strength training. It's such an important part of our Age Strong strategy. We've talked about muscle preservation for insulin sensitivity, for joint pain, just for mental health too. So there's that part of it. Then we also really have to talk about sleep, evening wind down protocols, what to do in the middle of the night when you can't sleep, even morning routines that help set you up for a better night's sleep. But sleep is such an important part. Remember, one poor night's sleep affects your blood sugar more than anything you eat. And all of this is studied within a community. So we have weekly online group coaching that you can either come live to or get the recordings for. We have a private online community where people can post questions, talk about their wins, just basically kind of get some peer support, accountability partners, that sort of thing. So, and I also promised that I would have a few bonuses. Remember, I said I really want us to stay moving. Movement's super important, but it's got to be intelligent. So the Chair Yoga Lab is a product that I have. It's a extensive library of short 15 to 20-minute yoga classes. And it is using a chair, so you don't have to get up and down from the floor, but I'll include that as a bonus for people who are on the call today. It's $9 a month to be a member, but I'll give you 6 months for free. So that's a $54 thingy. And then because sleep is so freaking important, I want to give you the sleep solutions course. These are more meditations, more yoga practices, more information on sleep specifically. It's normally a $29 course. And then because it's amazing to come together in person, if you can attend classes here in Niagara or you want to come to one of the retreats for the next 6 months, I would give you 10% off. So if you were to do something like the SHE program on your own, these are some of the things I think you'd have to try to put together. A life coach, maybe go to a sleep clinic, hire a personal trainer, talk to a nutritionist. You could easily spend more than $6,000 trying to put all these different components together yourself with different people. My program retails for 997 Canadian. But because you stuck with me all this time, thank you so much. I'd like to offer a 20% discount today, which would take it down to 797. So let's just go back over the full package. So you would get the SHE program is approximately 6 months. People do go through it faster, and some people take longer, but 6 months I think is the ideal time. So there's a 6 month framework set up within the program. There's video lessons. They're all about 15, 20 minutes. There's worksheets, journal prompts, the community support I talked about, the live coaching I talked about. There's also an email support. And thanks to a suggestion I had from a student, we're going to start putting in weekly live yoga classes as part of the SHE community as well, which you can work from the replay or come live. So all of that, then also the chair yoga lab, the sleep solutions course, and 10% off in-person programming for a 20% discount for this special event that we're having. So again, the SHE Mindfulness Program is your nervous system reset. We've talked so much about why you have to work from the level of the nervous system. It includes the mindful eating. It includes safe exercise and, science-backed exercise protocols for mature women. And it includes better sleep along with our coaching and our community. The program is mostly hosted online. So you don't have to live in Niagara, but there is an offered opportunity to really make some lovely corrections or connections, sorry. And I'm really excited to offer this program as a cohort starting on April 10th. So if someone were to make the decision today or tomorrow to sign up for the SHE program, I'm also going to restart a lot of the people that have joined individually on their own. And so we'll have quite a group starting as of April 10th. So you'll meet some new friends and you'll be able to work through the material sequentially together and support one another. I just think it's such a great time of year to start this because you'll get a couple months of SHE under your belt before we get into pool weather. And I think you'll just have that much more energy to enjoy your summer. So just to recap, we have the 6 months of SHE, the chair yoga lab, the sleep solutions course, and the 10% off. So registration is open. I'll put a link in the chat in a few minutes, or you can go to my website and be able to sign up. I'll be sending you an email to follow up on this webinar, and I'll put the link in there. I know that this seems like a little bit of a too good of a deal, and maybe it is, but I really, really know that this works. And I really would love to have people experience what I've experienced. But I know this isn't for everyone. It does involve thinking. I'm not going to tell you what to do. It involves being mindful, so slowing down and paying attention in your life. There will be, if you feel you just don't have time to do that, or you just aren't interested in being kind of cerebral about your life, maybe there'll be other opportunities for us to work together at a different time. But sometimes at this point, it's not logic that's holding people back. It can be fear, fear that maybe you really are amazing and that you really do have this capacity to reset your life. And fear around that is normal because you haven't got any actual lived experience of it yet. but it doesn't have to be the end of the conversation today. Fear will always be part of our experience. As soon as we try to do something different, I mean, we'll talk a lot in the SHE program about the habit brain, but your habit brain doesn't want you to make changes. We could all die. So, fear is going to be a part of any change that you undertake. And I talk to a lot of women, though, who are already feeling very pressured in their lives. Maybe they just don't have time to take on a project. And I get it, but I just want to gently ask, when's it gonna be your turn? I mean, you always do everything for everybody else. Everyone else's, needs always came first. And do you ever get a turn? I just don't know. I mean, if you started this week, you could be lighter hearted by next week. If you started now by summer, you could be lighter overall. I mean, what if you reset your energy and we're raring to go and just the world became your oyster? Because some days, honestly, that's the way I feel. My partner Richard says to me, "Who are you? What have you done with my wife?" Because I'm up and out of bed in the morning with stuff to do. Us women are just so used to putting ourselves last, and it just needs to change. I'm sorry, but it just needs to change. Another thing I hear from my clients is guilt over spending the money. We spend on vacations for the family. We bail our kids out. We pay for dinners out for our partner's birthdays, and that's all. We spend that money. But this is a question of allocating resources to your priorities, to you. And that can feel very foreign, but not everyone else needs you to do all those things for them. In fact, I think if you talk to some of your loved ones about prioritizing and spending some money on yourself, your daughters, your husband, your friends, I bet you they're going to say, go for it. Go for it. Do it. We want to see you happy because we love you. You deserve a choice. And here is a call today to just take one step. And I will prompt you. I will guide you. I will support you. I will cheerlead. I will be there with you every step of the way. And before you know it, you'll be a motivation machine. We just have to find that first little bit of momentum. You have to be willing to say yes to yourself. And that's the first step. I know it was hard for me to reach out for help. I thought I should be able to put this together myself. But girlfriend, doing this with a community is so much more fun. You just don't know exactly how your path will unfold with the SHE Mindfulness Program, but putting yourself first today starts the ball rolling. And oh, I almost forgot. I want to share one more time. There we go. So registration is open, and I will send you the link and put that link in the chat. And there is the package one more time, but I wanted to make sure that I remembered to tell you about the money back guarantee. I am really, really sure that this program works. So if you get going and you get into the modules and you just don't see the value for you, then money back, full, no questions asked. So that's like really an absolute guarantee in every way, shape, and form. Because as I said, this is all really common sense. It's simple stuff, but it's not easy. I needed support and education for over 8 months on my weight loss journey, and I would dearly love to be your guide. So, coming back, let me get that information into the chat for you in just a second. But wrapping up, the SHE Mindfulness Program contains all of these tools like mindful eating, better sleep, smarter exercise, setting loving boundaries, prioritizing self-care and self-compassion. It's a step-by-step structured system. So tackling a lifetime of habits alone can be done, but it's pretty tough. I think you'll find just the support you need within the SHE community. Hundreds of women have found the path. They've reset their midlife. And as we've talked, it's about way more than just weight loss. And this is a really good time to look at the program coming into spring with the bonuses, the 20% discount. Um, I'll give you a follow-up email in the next couple months or next couple weeks so that you can see a little bit more information and click on the link in the email in order to register. All right. No further ado. I have all the names of the people that registered for the webinar today, and one lucky person will walk away from the webinar today having purchased the SHE program. They'll be joining our community. So ta-da-da-da, I should have done a drum roll or something. All right. I have it. I have it. I have it. I have it. Can I read it without my glasses? That should be fun. Heather Coolahan. So I don't think Heather's on the call in person today, but I will contact her and let her know that she is joining SHE. I'm going to stop the recording now. Thank you so much and namaste.